Hello everyone, this is a video about homework 3. This homework, as you might remember, is going to be a team assignment. It's not going to be an individual assignment. And basically we have actually 3 different questions here. Now, let's first dive into the questions, and I'm then also going to have some announcement about the team project and how you are going to form your teams, etc. Now, as usual, we have our feedback structure here. And in question 1, the first question, or the first part of question 1, is about the design of a Ziegler-Nichols method PID controller, where you are going to plot the step response of the closed loop, the pole zero map, give the resulting ZBK and TF representations of both the controller and the closed loop transfer functions, and also the overshoot and settling time values. So basically you will provide everything that is necessary to evaluate the design, the validity of the design that is necessary are going to be provided for each question, of course. So it is written down here, but you will apply this to all the upcoming controller design tasks. Now, the Ziegler-Nichols method shouldn't be a big problem here. And therefore, the next question is about the maximum dominance factor again, as it was in the homework 2. But here, the question is only about the residue poles. You are not going to optimize it against the zeros. You should only optimize them against the residue poles for maximum dominance. But here again, your decisions should be based on theoretical results. What we mean by this is you are not going to use some numerical tools. I did use a for loop and then I came up with this value. No, you should actually answer this question in a more theoretical manner, where you can show the source of your decision theoretically. You should solve this equation, therefore this equation gives this result, and that is going to be the maximum dominance factor. So that should be basically the explanation that you should provide here. The time domain specifications are given 4 seconds and 10% overshoot, nothing special, and you should design a PID controller here. So basically the first 2 questions are not really that bothersome, hopefully. The actual point of this question is to answer basically the 3rd and 4th part here. We are going to plot the error signal, control signal, and output signal of each scenario that we are going to discuss in a moment in just one figure with subplots. We did this already in the laboratory, you might remember, you might take that path. So we will have basically a PID controller on its own as a Simulink model. Then we are going to add this saturation element to the PID. So there will be another model where the PID and the saturation element is there. And then there's going to be a 3rd one where we have the PID, the saturation element, and the anti-wind-up structure. So there are 3 different Simulink models. You should include each Simulink block diagram in your report so that we can see how you did the connections and stuff. And also, of course, you should provide a figure for each Simulink model where we can see the error signal, the control signal, and the output. By control signal, I mean, of course, the saturated, pre-saturation control signal, etc. So you should basically add everything about the control signal that can be added to the plots. And we have this control signal limitation, and the only thing that is requested, of course, is to provide the results accordingly with the PID controller that you have designed. And the last part of the first question is about converting that PID controller in a PIPD controller without any design, because that's not necessary. You can just convert any PID controller in its PIPD form. You should do that in this question, and then you should basically copy the 3 Simulink models that you had here and replace the controller with a PIPD form, and then repeat all the stuff that was necessary here. So you are going to have, again, 3 more models here where you have the PIPD controller and the response and the error signal, control signal, and output signals on a single figure, and then another one where you have the PIPD anti-saturation, and then again the same results, and of course the anti-wind-up structure, the PIPD, and the saturation element should be the 3rd one here. Of course, I would suggest you to be consistent with the coloring for these last 2 portions of this question here, because in your report and probably in your presentation you will you will have some results there. So having a color association with a certain scenario would be nice here. So keep that in mind. So that's actually the most important part, and I would assume that you should start here, because the second question is going to be covered in after your midterm exam, so you will have still some time for it. Now, in the second question, we have a fourth order system with some delay here, and we are searching the stability interval of the system, but you have to use some different methods that are available as tools. One of them is the root locus method. There are two different putty approximation methods that you should use, and then a body plot method where you can assess the stability of a certain system. So you are basically going to compare them and then talk about their advantages, weaknesses, and stuff. So this is actually more about an information question than I don't know, it's not that, it shouldn't be that tricky here. So that's what I mean here. And we repeat this same sort of comparison of methods for analysis here for synthesis purposes, where we are looking for a lead controller for some given settling time and overshoot value. And of course, our system has, again, delay in it, and you should provide your design for these using the signal order putty approximation, using the body plot, using the Smith predictor. And then you should repeat this for the system without delay, so the minimum phase part maybe, using root locus and body plot. And that concludes basically the whole homework 3 here. So as you can see, the most important one is the simulating part here, which will have some work in it. And then, of course, these portions will be covered in both the lectures and laboratory sessions after the midterm. So that is going to be a more knowledge-based question here. So that's that. And as you remember at the beginning of this video, I've talked about the fact that this is going to be a team assignment. So there are some rules about it. First of all, we have some reminders that you shouldn't send emails, that you shouldn't provide code. We don't look for MATLAB codes. You shouldn't upload any Simulink file, zip file, M file, RAR file. It's not necessary. You should just provide the necessary figures and block diagrams and stuff as a report, and that's sufficient. Submit a single PDF file to NINOVA. Late submission strategy is still the same. And yeah, this is going to be a teamwork homework, so therefore you're expected to form teams of 3, 4, up to 5 would be okay for us. Now here for this purpose we will open up a system in DOST where you can basically define your team and teammates. So that's going to be it. There should be a team leader, there should be researchers and a reporter, and as the name implies, the team leader has some responsibilities which are defined here, which you can read, of course. The reporter is going to be responsible of the report that you're going to generate, and of course the researcher needs to research the material here. So there's kind of this structure which you should definitely experience, and which is also important because we will have some some personal reports. Yeah, you will prepare a personal reports that basically will report us your experience during the teamwork assignments, how you did well or maybe had some problems during the teamwork. You will report that to us. Maybe a half A4 is sufficient. And then there will be a grading table which I'm going to upload as a template. I'm going to upload a personal report template where you will have a grading table and some space to talk about your work experience with your teammates, basically. And the grading is just for assessing who did what and who did its work, who didn't work during the teamworks, because that's a common thing. So basically, the most important thing about the personal report is that it should be submitted personally, and it should be, how do I say it? Kept secret. So that's the most important part, because otherwise you wouldn't write your opinions down as they are. so they should be kept secret. We will be talking about the personal reports after that. So this is actually important. This whole structure of a team is playing an important role in this homework. So keep that in mind. And yeah, that's basically it. Of course, you should generate a nice report as it is. And the answering should be in a classical manner as you were in a, I don't know, midterm exam, in a classical exam. We are looking for the steps. The report should be, of course, visually appealing, so that when one looks at your report, they should be able to learn something from it or learn how all the steps were carried out. So that's quite important too. And yeah, we will also have probably some Zoom sessions where we will ask you to present us your work, and then we'll grade your basically homework on the fly in the oral examinations. So that's basically it. Hope that this homework helps you out and you will hopefully have some fun with it. So yeah, good luck.